Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Rise Urban Nation. It's your host, Terrell Timmons, in the building, and I got a special guest in the building today. And I was about to say, you named after a superstar, right? Doctor,
Yeah.
you didn't know? Is
No,
there an R&B single called? Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I'm waiting on you to tell me.
Don't act like you don't know this superstar.
Oh, you talking about Mario Van
Doc,
Peebles?
isn't there a
That's
superstar?
the only
Is it
Peebles I
Vanessa
know.
Peoples or like what?
And Ann Peebles.
Mario Van, there you go. I knew you knew. You was like making me over here like pause. I know there's a superstar named after you. I just can't put my name on it. It's one of the old school
Ann
superstars. And
Peebles.
now I'm telling my age.
A smidge. But I guess I following suit
Are
because
y'all
I
related?
acknowledged it, right? I recognized it. I was it's Ann Peebles.
Yeah.
My mother's sitting over here probably like, I wish you would remember this name. I can't stand the rain. That is help
But
from
we
the
got Dr. I can't
help from the
stand
mama
the
in the
rain.
studio with me.
But
Yeah, she gave me
we
this
got
look
Dr.
like, what you mean
Danielle.
you don't remember? Yes.
But we got Dr. Danielle Peebles in the building today, author, founder of Pro Health Family Chiropractic. You're the first Black chiropractor I ever, and I go to the chiropractor regularly now, might I say. I didn't know that we had some Black chiropractors out there in the world. How in the world did you get into this career field? Because I don't know how many people I know that I grew up with in the hood. It's like, you know what? When I grow up, I want to be a chiropractor. I want to be in there, like making sure people back is in line and they
Exactly.
got
Because
good,
I was you. I had
posture and all
never
that good stuff. Like, how did you get into this career?
just really by chance, but let me tell you the story. I was always wanting to be a chiropractor. Well, not always be a chiropractor. Let me correct that. I always wanted to be a doctor ever since I was 6. And as I was growing older, I started learning about the different fields. And I had this imagination and this strong attachment to neurosurgery. So I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. So then I started reading all of Dr. Carson's books, and I'm continuing on this path. I'm so headstrong. I am going to be a neurosurgeon. So I decided to go to St. Louis University, which is a feeder school into their St. Louis University Med campus, medical school. And when I say I was in purpose, I actually denied admissions, turned down money to other schools because I knew I was going to school to be a doctor. They didn't seem to line up the way I needed them to. So I told them no. We'll come back to life lessons because we're going to throw that in there. So while after my junior year at St. Louis University as an undergrad, I received a phone call from the medical campus. It was actually the Office of Multicultural Affairs. I had not heard of this department at all. I was actually working in the financial aid office. I tell people, you never know who's watching you. You never know who sees you. There was a man I met through a different program some couple of years recent prior to that. Met him once. I don't even remember having a conversation with him, but I remember him being in the room. That man vouched for me to be a part of a program on the med campus. Mind you, I only met him once. I don't remember what our conversation was, but I left an impression on him.
Wow.
This program is a summer enrichment program for high school students aspiring to become medical doctors. And usually it is run by second year med students. But this particular year, only one med student was available, and it had to have a second person to help run this program. So I believe his name is Dr. Brown. He said, give Danielle Peebles the opportunity. Give her the opportunity. They said, I later found out they said, we don't want her. She's an undergrad. She may not be mature enough for this position. And he told them, no, give her the position. So go through it. I was very successful. I wowed them. And the wife of the dean of this particular department had a conversation with me. She said, Danielle, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm all proud. I got my chest stuck out because I was kind of cocky with it. And I said, oh, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon. And she said, well, are you, do you, that's great. You want to be a neurosurgeon. Do you want to have a family? I said, yes. Have you thought about the commitment of time to both having a family and being a neurosurgeon? She said, I'm not deterring you, but I want you to go in having thought about all of those things. It was very key time that she asked me that question because at the start of my undergrad, my priorities were career, then family. That was my value system. When she asked me the question, my value system had already started shifting, in which it was family, then career. So for her to hit me with the question, do you want to have a family? She was hitting at my value system as I'm still making my career choices. I had just finished taking MCATs. I'm literally getting myself ready to go into med school. She said, have you ever thought about being a chiropractor? I said, no, but I know I need one because my back is hurting. And I'm thinking she's getting ready to connect me so I can get a chiropractor. She said, no, I want to introduce you to a chiropractor. Her name is Dr. Bell. She was the first chiropractor I met, and she was African American. So it was very, very, really by chance. I was in the right place at the right time. And from that conversation, I started doing my research. I became even more excited about chiropractic because it's still in the field of neurology and working with the spine. And so from there on, my excitement just continued to grow. And every day I fall in love with my profession. Can you still hear me?
Shout out to that doctor who really championed you and had an eye. We need that's what we need in our community because without that, that seed was planted and watered and it grew to the beautiful flower that it is today. And I realized we got directly into the conversation about you becoming a chiropractor, and I forgot to start off with my opening question because see, this is what happens when you get. See, Angela said you gonna we our energies was just gonna just do so well that I forget my whole routine and script, and I go off script a little bit. But for the people who do not know, Dr. Danielle Peebles, the fantastic author and chiropractic superstar that you are. Um, who is Dr. Peebles? And break that down. I know that's a deep question, and you can take it as far and wide as you want to go.
Well, I am Dr. Danielle Peebles. I hail from St. Louis, Missouri. I am a product of the city, the inner city. I grew up going to the St. Louis public school system. And from there, I matriculated to St. Louis University undergrad school, where I began my studies on my path to become a doctor, which I wanted to be since I was 6 years old. My degree from St. Louis University is a bachelor's in chemistry with a minor in mathematics. And then from there, I matriculated to Logan University, where I acquired my doctorate degree in chiropractic.
Mhm. That's beautiful. Now, I didn't get into my chiropractic experiences until I say my late 30s. And I don't think most people, because I grew up in the hood of DC, we don't even know nothing about no chiropractic, nothing. It was until I moved to the pretty old suburbs where I started to learn about what chiropractic, like, and going to the joint is the one that I started with because my back was just giving me problems, and like, black men in our community, we don't like going to the doctor unless we get
The
dragged,
eyeball
like,
is hanging
real.
out your face.
Yeah. I'm gonna just lay down, put some tussin on it, like,
Right.
and I'll be good in the morning. Like, it ain't no month, but a little. But I
They
went in and
practically have
they.
to crawl in my office. They practically are crawling in. Look, anything. Just can you just fix this? I can't stand. I can't walk. I can't play basketball anymore.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, because that's all that matters, right?
and then I had to even still knowing what I know now and knowing how this benefits me, like, I still don't go as regular as I should. Like, I remember in the pandemic when we started the pandemic, I had to adjust my whole like office setup from home, and my back and shoulders was killing me because I didn't have the right setup because I didn't have my setup that I had at work because they come in there and they do this ergonomic setup that's supposed to be good
Exactly.
for your
And
your
you
posture. And
didn't
I
even know
was
that was a thing. You didn't even
Yeah.
realize that was a thing. Like there was a science as to why your desk looked like it does, why your chair was at the height. The computer, you didn't have a clue. You just
Yeah.
sat down and did your work.
And the reason why my work did is because they wanted to reduce the amount of like workers comp claims, right? Because after a while it correlates with each other, right?
They do. They
uh, and
do.
so and so I had the wrong setup, and oh man, I remember my back and neck was just killing me. I was like, I went to the chiropractor. He said, I was like, what's going on? Do you got did you change jobs? Like, I was like, I think wherever you got your work setup is causing this. You might need to think about it, readjusting it, right?
Right.
And then I realized how important chiropractic care was because they got me right. So I think all I have to say is like I think us in the Black community and the work life that we experiences, whether it be in the office or be in sports, we could use this so much, and it could help with this. And I know some people probably think this is a small aspect of healthcare, but I think it's a big correlation. There's a big importance to the Black community and making sure they understand the importance of chiropractic care. And I don't have the words, but I know you do as an expert. So how does how can the Black community benefit by understanding the importance of chiropractic care?
The number of benefits is is numerous. Is
Hmm.
numerous from our basic functions of sleeping to being able to handle the everyday stresses of life, mental, physical, emotionally, then also digestion. Every system of our body is
Hmm.
impacted by chiropractic adjustments. Even just our quality of life, the things we want that makes us happier, they all of this is impacted by chiropractic and the adjustments, especially if it's regular care. So let's start there. So if we could just start peeling these layers back on each one of
Hmm.
those, then African American community would definitely understand. One of the things that I'm passionate about, and it was something that you said that triggered me to bring this up. Our young African American men, they already don't like to go to the doctors. You just pointed that out, which is very, very true. But when they
Hmm.
do get to the doctor, sometimes they're hearing things like, oh my goodness, your blood pressure is all over the place. It's erratic, it's high, it's low. So you need to come back. Let's keep monitoring it. And every time you come
Hmm.
back and you're monitoring it, it is jumping all over the place. And usually this is present in my athletes. And what
Hmm.
athletes don't know is you're out there playing hard contact, jumping up and down, and that's enough to rattle the nervous system, which controls your heart. So if the nerve that comes out at a
Hmm.
certain level is being irritated by the joint space because of all the jumping and it hasn't been corrected to realign it,
Hmm.
then eventually you're going to get a system that's a signal to the heart that's up, down, up, down, up, down, which is going to give off the input. Blood pressure high, blood
Hmm.
pressure is normal, blood pressure high. Oh, now
Hmm.
we're just high because no one has checked me in a while.
Hmm.
So the longer something goes unchecked, the worse your other symptoms become.
Yeah. So true. So true. And the other thing I note about this, like when I talk about Black men in healthcare, because uh, because I'm fussing with like the elderly people in my life now, like because there's those transitions happening, and you like, yo, why don't you just go to the doctor? Why do you like to? Because every time I go to the doctor, they they tell me something else is wrong, like and ain't nothing been wrong for all these years, and then I go in there, they start messing under the hood, and then they keep finding something else, and I just don't like it was fine until they started messing around with it.
And that is commonly said, male and females. They would say that in my office, and I say, no, you've gotten comfortable with adapting to dysfunction. That's the reason why you say, oh, it wasn't a problem until. No, you were adapting slowly and daily with dysfunction. That's just our human instincts. Something may be off, and we will alter our actions to get whatever it needs to be done. For example, your neck hurts. You wake up with a crook in your neck and you
Hmm.
can't turn your neck. So, but you're still going to go out there and drive because you still got to go to work. But you can't
Hmm.
turn your head to check your blind spot. So you can't turn your whole upper body to look over, or you just rely on your mirror and hope no one's in the blind spot, and you keep
Hmm.
functioning. And then you stay in that pattern for so long that you say, oh, this is normal. And you
Mm.
start accepting what's a new normal for you versus, oh, this is not supposed to happen this way. I shouldn't have to turn my whole body to answer someone over my shoulder.
Mm. There you go. Now, with that being said, what do you think the 3 misconceptions about your field is?
Well, the first one is once you start going, you have to keep going. That's
Mhm.
one misconception. Two, the misconception that it's very expensive and not accessible to everyone.
Mhm.
And three, that the chances of you getting hurt are very high. And those are misconceptions. Which one you want to
Mm.
tackle first?
Let's go with number 1 first. That once you keep going, you have to keep going. Once you go, you have to
Right,
keep
right.
going.
So when my patients come into my office, I tell them it's not so much that once you start coming that you have to keep going. Because if you think about it, when you bought a car and you started driving, you put gas in it, you never stopped and said, well, once I put this gas in, am I going to have to keep putting gas in it to drive it? But you do. That's the only way you're going to drive it. Once you start going to the chiropractor, you like how you feel.
Mhm.
So you want to keep going back to the chiropractor because now you understand that your body can function with less pain and improved range of motion. So you will want to go back. It's up to
Mhm.
you. I tell my patients, you don't have to come back, but
Mhm.
they don't even want to leave my office without their next appointment.
Mm.
So that's the whole if you start, you have to keep going. No, it's something that your body wants. And then you notice you function at your best once you start getting corrected. The second one, the
Gotcha.
cost. The cost of chiropractic varies. Yes, there are insurances because everybody feel like they got the black card in life with the health insurance. Perhaps I shouldn't have said that. But it's the truth. They be like, I got insurance. Very good. Now, does your policy cover this amount of service? Oh, you're surprised you have to pay out of pocket still. Interesting. Your insurance is not the black card version. So sometimes people don't realize that their insurance may cover some of the costs.
Mhm.
It may not cover any of the costs, or you have the option to pay out of pocket. If you speak with the office, they have payment plans that are affordable and set up so that you're able to pay for your care. So cost doesn't have to be a limiting factor to chiropractic. And the third one, look, what did I say the third one was?
Uh, you tell me.
I don't even, I got so stuck on one. I'm
I was
real.
focused
I tell
on
my
one.
patients I'm so human. I be like squirrel.
What was the 3 challenges? You said, see, now you got me like trying to figure out what did she say was the third one. Like,
I need you to be
we
true
both
to
human here.
we're very human. I should have written it down in front of me, then I wouldn't have this stammering
Look,
problem. But
look, I was so focused on the cost part because like that was the part I was most interested in. I was like, let's go back to that number 1, that cost part, and the keep going part.
right. So do I have to keep going? Yes, you have to keep going. You don't have to, but it is in your best interest. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, I'm better than this on my feet. And when I'm teaching,
But this is part of life.
I have been
We
vibing.
roll with it. We roll with it.
We roll with that third concept will come back around by
Yeah,
the end of
we'll
this
figure
conversation.
whatever it is. Look, if y'all remembered it in the conversation, and we didn't answer about how this interview is done, just put it in the comments. We'll get back to you. I
Right.
promise.
I'll send an update afterwards in an email.
now, now, one thing I remember before we even started recording, me and you, we were talking so much about like because I was telling you like I really started this podcast from off the journey of going to support the Black community and just highlighting amazing people like yourself in different career pathways. And how you got to where you're at so we can inspire the next generation of young people or just anybody who has the skill and knack for what you do so that they can get to where they get to. And your wonderful, beautiful story that you told earlier about somebody championing you, how you got into your career was beautiful. Now, you know, when you look at like how you got to your level of success where you're at today. What were some of the challenges that you had to overcome?
Patience, having
Patience.
patience with yourself, because we want things to happen so quickly. We want things to
Mm,
happen right now. And that's not how the world is. Everything does not happen right now. One of my favorite movies actually is The Nutcracker. There's a
mm,
particular aspect in The Nutcracker the last Nutcracker version I saw, where the young girl had the opportunity to go into a different land where time was vastly different from the time, the way time was referenced from where she was from, where her dad was grieving the loss of their mother. And as she's looking through the clock at her dad, time was moving extremely slowly. Whereas she
mhm,
was in a whole nother universe. They have fought wars, they have saved people, they've done a whole lot in this same time frame. And it made me realize that what we think is moving quickly is actually moving very slowly. And you do have time. And
mhm,
sometimes it takes time to get the right thing, especially if it's something you really want. So being patient
mm.
has been one of the lessons that I had to learn in life. And everything happens in the time that it is supposed to happen.
Yes, yes. I forget who said this, but it's like they was talking about this new generation is like the microwave generation because they're used to having everything on demand. They don't even have to watch commercials anymore if they want to. They could watch the whole season of a show if they wanted to, right? And
Right.
and so learning patience in this new era of technology and society where everything is just so instantaneous is a new thing to get accustomed to. Like, remember when we were growing up, we used to see our mamas and our grandmamas cook, right? And their meals were so good. And you know why that meal was so good? Because it took a whole day to make that meal. She had
Whole
to
day.
marinate it, and they had
Slow
to put it
cooking
in the
everything.
oven. And anything that you're creating in life, you know, the best things in life are the things that marinate a while, that you put in the oven and you have to wait for it, right?
And don't forget the part about the preparation. There were a lot of prep work going into that meal. Just like with
Mm,
your careers, there's a lot of prep work before you even get to the part where everything is flowing and bubbling and creating the final product. There's prep,
mhm,
and then there's the actual work that you may not see going on, such as the boiling of the water. You don't see that happening, but you know it's happening. And then all of a
mhm,
sudden, you have this beautiful feast in front of you. So
mhm.
it takes time. As you said, you
Man,
have to marinate sometimes.
you have to marinate sometimes.
Delayed
Now,
gratification is a concept that is missed on this
mhm.
this current generation. Delayed gratification.
Right, right. And too, I like the for me what I'm learning is I love the journey of it too. Even though there's a goal and the outcome, I'm in love with the journey because the journey will lead you to the best outcomes when you really center in the journey of becoming, right?
Yes,
And
staying present.
yes, because it makes you appreciate even more. It's like, oh shoot, I remember I was just this knucklehead over here. That at one stage I became this, and then one stage I became this, and then now I'm looking at it like, ooh, okay, all right, I like this, and then I thought I
I'm
was going to get this on
arriving.
the way this, but then I learned this in a way which made me pivot to this.
Correct. Yes, I agree with all of that. It's actually the journey that's more important than the destination, because you may
Hmm.
never get to the destination, but it's what you learn along the way that helps tweak who you are becoming and who you eventually end up being. Not saying that it's still the destination, but overall, all of these little incidents, all of these little events, they're there intentionally
Hmm.
and purposefully.
Hmm. Yep. Now let's talk about books. What books have you read that have inspired you, or books that you are rereading
Rereading, yes, that's me.
that inspire you? What have you learned from those books?
Whew. I have several books that I love reading, but this one book is called The Big Leap: Conquer Your
The,
Hidden Fear and Take Life to the Next Level, written
okay.
by Mr. Gay Hendricks.
All right.
I actually came across that book a year ago, last year.
Mm-hmm.
I came across the book because I'm in a group of female chiropractors on Facebook, and someone made a comment, oh, you need to read The Big Leap if you want to know what I'm talking about. And I was like, I want to know what she's talking about. So I read The
Mm-hmm.
Big Leap, and I am rereading it and rereading it. I love The Big Leap. So in The Big Leap, it is addressing the zones in which we operate out of. There are four
Mm-hmm.
zones: the zone of incompetence,
Mm-hmm.
the zone of competence, the zone
Mm-hmm.
of excellence, and the zone of
Mm-hmm.
genius. Now, those who have careers that are able to just function and do everything without thinking about it, it's almost like being on a treadmill. You could just go and you're just
Mm-hmm.
blindly going through the motions. That's your zone of excellence, according to the definition. But when you're
Mm-hmm.
in your zone of genius, you are using your energy and channeling it towards what you do well and that you love doing. See, in the zone of excellence, you're doing it because it's something you can do. It's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily you love it, you can just do it, and it's just happening.
Mm-hmm.
But zone of excellence, zone of genius, I apologize. Zone of genius is where you are thriving and you're hitting that ultimate level of
Mm-hmm.
performance, of doing whatever activity that you're doing. So, as I was mentioning to you, you understood that where your zone of genius was doing the podcast, not the work
Mm-hmm.
behind the scene, because you didn't
Yep.
want to, but you love the conversation. The
Mm-hmm.
same with me. I don't particularly care for the paperwork portion of being a chiropractor. It is what it is. Okay. I can get it done. I don't
Right.
care for it. Yeah. But what I do care about is the communication of chiropractic to my patient. And I love, 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 love explaining the mechanism of injury and how it correlates to the pain symptoms that they are presenting me with. And then, of course, my ultimate favorite thing is adjusting and seeing your body
Mm-hmm.
respond to what I do. Woo! I hit this moonwalk, but it's on carpet, so it doesn't look very good. But I moonwalk and I'm happy. Really, I'm trying not to fall on this carpet, but I'm really happy because you're doing so well.
Right. So I mean, I would be on your table like, ooh, that the spot right there. That's like you got
And
me.
that's
Ooh, all
exactly how my
right,
office
okay,
visit
all right.
sounds.
You
My
get that
office is
snap,
full of
crackle, and pop.
laughter and everything. And there's an experience. So, yes, there are chiropractors, but when you come to my office is not like any other chiropractic visit ever.
Mm-hmm.
There is an experience that I have built into coming to my office for care. And so a lot of my patients, I believe they come in, yes, they come in for the treatment, but they come in for the experience and how they
Mm-hmm.
feel emotionally as well as physically when they come in and when they leave my office. So I think they just come there to hang out with me, really.
Yeah. But I love that you do that because that's all that that's what we need in our black communities. That's a level of experience and tailored type of patient care. And if I'm being honest, like when we talk about tackling healthcare disparities, this is how we do it. We got to get people that look like us, that give us experiences that we want to experience when we go into places to get healed. Like we're not just you not if I go into your place for chiropractic, like you're not just healing my 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 skeletal structure, for lack of better words,
Correct.
but you healing my soul too, because now I got some place that I could go to fill my soul up and get
Yes.
my back adjusted.
Yes, 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 yes. And that experience, I am very, very fortunate to say that experience goes across the ages in my office. And when I say across the ages, I'm saying my babies love coming
Mhm.
in there. They learn to say chiropractic better than adults by the time that they're 2 or 3 years old. They say, I want to go see Dr. Peebles. I need to go to the chiropractor. I need an adjustment. They say these words so well by the time that they're 3 years old because of the experience they've had coming in as a baby, the love that they
Mhm.
feel, they're welcome, the excitement that I share for seeing them as well as their parents. I had a call the other day. The sweetest phone call is what I call it. And the mother, I thought it was the mother. So I said, "Hi, how are you?" She said, "Hold on, my daughter is the one who wanted to make the phone call." I was like, "Okay. Hi, Elise, how are you?" So I'm talking to her, giving her the respect and space to be herself. And I said, "Hey, Elise, how you doing?" And she said, "Dr. Peebles, I need to come in for an adjustment. My back is hurting." I said, "Okay, well, let me pull out my appointment book." And I
Mm-hmm.
spoke with her. She booked her
Mm-hmm.
appointment. She felt good.
Mm-hmm.
That baby was 4 years old.
Ah,
Okay, 4.
ah.
Because she was on a mission
Uh-huh.
to be seen. And when she came in, she explained everything to me. She said my back had this continuous itch on it, and it was because now I'm teaching the babies how to communicate what is going
Mm-hmm.
on with their bodies, and then letting them know they do have a voice. So my
Yeah.
office, so much happens in my
Mm-hmm.
office. There are layers to this whole experience. You're not just being treated for your ailment, but you are getting your soul fed. Oh, that might be
Yeah.
the next book title.
Look, that's there's another element that I picked up from that too, because so here in San Diego, like our board of supervisors declared racism as a public health crisis, and in that they talked about the mortality rate of Black women versus white women giving birth, and then it was like a huge discrepancy, and I can imagine what it's like in other states, right? And when we talk about Black women going to receive care, whether it be at hospitals or doctors, oftentimes their voice is not heard, or what the other side hears. Oh, you know, Black women can tolerate pain. That what she's talking about. She okay. She just needs some aspirin, right? She can,
Right.
like, or she just being extra, or like, and we're not being heard, or we don't they don't know how to advocate for themselves because they don't know how to advocate or what they need, so they can get what they need, right? And what you've just
Absolutely.
provided is another level of care that
Advocacy.
allows for that to start to happen, right?
Yes, yes. You just reminded me. I came across an article on a med student, African American male. He's in med school, and he started
Mm-hmm.
noticing that he started doing research on all of the different assessment modalities, and he learned
Mm-hmm.
the disparity was that the levels or thresholds of that the patient that was African American or brown were higher thresholds to be met, to be
Mm-hmm.
considered as a dire need, than the non-brown, non-African American counterparts. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, when during COVID they were relying on the BMI numbers for their oximeter. They looking at BMI, they looking at oximeter numbers, and what they found was the threshold for African Americans had to be significantly lower before they were acknowledged as having been sick, whereas the threshold was higher, and then the other counterparts were getting care quicker and more efficiently. And so
Mm-hmm.
he's working with DC right now to change those parameters. But they think, I shouldn't say they, but research has shown that there is the thought process that African Americans can withstand more pain than the
Mm-hmm.
other nationalities, and therefore
And
it's
I
easier
to,
to
to that I say
push.
that research is flawed.
Right. I'm going to fall out on this floor faster than anybody else. You just pinch me. I am over. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. Pinch my little roll. So, but there are numbers. There are actual research that they are saying that's the reason why. Oh, you don't have to worry about the African. But remember, whenever research is done, whatever numbers are presented, you have to understand there is a mission. Whenever you're speaking, even with me speaking to my audience, I tailor my message based on the action I want from that audience. Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
any research and the data that is presented, you have to remember there's a purpose behind it. And
Yeah.
either it is to help or hinder one group or another. So, I always question what it's the purpose behind that certain message that is being given.
Yeah, and I think when we start to look at that research too, we have to even unpack the research for itself to see, like, you know, whether it's done consciously or unconsciously, like where did the bias exist into this research, and how do we unpack that bias to get more granular into it, the quantitative and qualitative data to tell the stories behind that data, so you can get a better understanding. Like, you can't just take it for face value.
Can't take it for face value. And you also have to get more information on the researchers that's doing it. Do they have a bias already? Do they even have access to the African Americans? So did they base this off of two African Americans and say that was the representation of our whole population? Did
Hmm.
they take these African Americans, if they did work with them, did they take them from the same region? Every African American is not the same.
Yeah, we are not a monolith, so.
Right. So there are so many layers to us that are being neglected, and then they
Hmm.
want to put a blanket over and say this is how you treat us, and that adds to our disparities in healthcare.
Yeah, yeah.
But when they come in my office, I give them the language. I teach them the language so that they can go into other offices and advocate for themselves. And one of
Yeah.
the things I teach my patients, and also that I was teaching my students when I was teaching, is to learn to trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust what you see. Trust what you're hearing, and make decisions based off of that. We're often encouraged to doubt what we know,
Hmm.
but society will do little tricks, little programming to get you to doubt yourself. And in my
Yeah.
office, I am programming you to trust yourself. Once you
Yes.
learn to trust yourself, you start to make better decisions to advocate for yourself.
Yeah. Now, I know we talked a little bit about all these different disparities. In your own humble opinion, how do we, or how do you tackle, some of the healthcare disparities? I mean, we've already unpacked a whole bunch that you're already doing, but like, when you think about the future, like when we're starting to look at how do we create better modalities and access to healthcare and education for our peoples, how do we start to really tackle those healthcare disparities?
One of the ways is this platform here, appearing on podcasts. I have to make myself present so that people know that I exist, and then take what they already know and teach them something new. So I
Mm,
have to draw them in. It's just really education. We
mm-hmm,
have been misinformed by so about so many things, and so I take every moment, every time you come into my office. Some people may have been to chiropractors where the chiropractic office will say, hey, we're going to have a workshop on Saturday. Please come back to our workshop so we can have this discussion on this. We're going to talk about low back pain. Not in my office. I'm not opposed to workshops, but I am an advocate for take advantage of the time that I have with you right now. Because once you leave
mm-hmm,
out of my office, life is distracting. There are so many distractions once you walk outside my door that you might not even remember to come back to my workshop on
mm-hmm,
Saturday. Thus, I've
mm-hmm,
missed the opportunity to inform you. So every time a patient comes in, one, I encourage them to bring someone, bring
mm-hmm,
along a friend so that they
mm,
can see what's going on with you, so they can see
mm-hmm,
what chiropractic is about, and they get to ask some questions, because I am always going to allow that moment to be a teaching moment in my office.
mm-hmm,
And two, whatever discomfort or concerns or whatever I see that needs to be addressed when I'm adjusting you, which is our term for treatment, when I'm adjusting
mm-hmm,
you, I take that moment to have that conversation and teach you what it means so that you can walk out and utilize that information that day.
mm. I love that. I love that because the education is so important. Like, I remember when my first adjustment that I got was after like running my third marathon, and then I went to see a sports person, and it's like, oh, here's the reason why you're having so much knee pain and this, that, and the other, because one side of you is longer than the other, and so all that pressure that's coming down on one side is causing this pain because of your alignment and wear and tear around that knee part, right? And I was like, wait,
Correct.
what? Like one side is longer than the other?
Correct. Exactly. People have no idea. No, let's say this. You did not know to verbalize that. Now, you may have seen some indicators along the way that you might be uneven, but you didn't know that was the language. So, for example, you notice that your shirt hang off one shoulder a lot more than the other. Every time you take a picture, you're like, why my shirt hanging off over there? You see the little indicators that you might be slightly off balance. But you don't know that's the words to use. Or when you're walking, like when you hear somebody walking in some shoes that have some little tap to it, like Easter Sunday shoes. When you hear them walking, you hear that boom, 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 boom. It's an uneven cadence. Yeah, they're lopsided. Don't tell anybody I said that. No.
but that's how we communicate to Black community.
So that's why they come
girl,
back.
you know you lopsided. I don't know why you keep doing that.
That's okay.
But yeah, and so you start to learn those little things. You start to learn how you need your desk set up so that you can have a healthier lifestyle when it comes to your back pain and all the different things that you do in life, and make those adjustments and then go back and get adjusted. No pun intended.
Absolutely.
So that you can keep.
Which brings me to, as I continue to
so you can live your life.
That was the inspiration for my book that I have out on Amazon called Sex Sent Me to the Chiropractor. So here's the book, Sex Sent Me to the Chiropractor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell me about the book.
Baby to the chiro.
You got a little R&B book.
My fiance would be hot if he heard I was in here singing. Like, you are just really, because he can sing, and he said I must be tone deaf. I don't appreciate these words. So I won't play this part of the podcast too. I wasn't singing. So Sex Sent Me to the Chiropractor is a humorous way to educate people on the various benefits of chiropractic, but the list is not exhaustive. In this particular book, we focus on the sexual reproductive system. Mm-hmm. So you're following storylines of people coming together, making new relationships. Some relationships are ending. And you also are learning how chiropractic will benefit sexual reproductive system in the fashion of pregnancy, miscarriages, erectile dysfunction, menstrual cycles, people injured while having sex, people injured while being sexy. And so all of those are comedically addressed in this book. The reason for the title is that I thought about it. When it comes to marketing, things are marketed in three aspects: money, sex, and drugs. Everything that's marketed to you is either money, sex, or drugs. Okay. Well, I couldn't come to you for money because you already think chiropractic is expensive. So that's not going to make you want to read about chiropractic. Drugs, well, we don't prescribe drugs. We do what we do without using medication. So I can't use that angle to say, come see me. So that leaves sex. And people generally are intrigued just by the word sex because their mind starts doing all kind of colorful things. Well, how can sex be sending me to the chiropractor? What am I doing in the bedroom? So now they are wanting to laugh and joke and figure out, what could I have done to send me to the chiropractor? So I take what you know, and then I teach you something new. So I draw you in with sex, and then you walk out learning that what my menstrual cycle could improve from getting adjusted on a regular basis. I don't have to have as much cramps. You telling me that my labor and delivery can go faster if I'm getting adjusted while pregnant? All of that is in this book as you're reading it and laughing. And actually, to all my viewers, and especially the ones that have read the book, you will be happy to know I am officially working on the sequel, because I keep getting messages and people popping up on me on the sidewalk. Dr. Peebles, when are we going to get the next book? I was like, well, Happy New Year to you too. Haven't seen you in 2 years. You're not going to just walk up on me like that and ask me for a book. I'm leaving the zoo right now. Yes, the sequel is coming. I'm excited as I'm working on it.
Look, y'all heard it first here. The sequel is coming. You heard it first.
And another one. I love it. I love it.
We were like DJ Khaled and another one. So, all right. If you could
get your
automatically
spine
upload
checked.
one
Your
crucial piece of health information
is your
into everyone's
truest
brain, what would it be?
indicator of your overall health. You don't really know how healthy you are until you know how healthy your spine is or isn't. Because it is that spine, the nerves that's coming through that spine, that's what's controlling everything else, all the way down to your skin. So get your spine checked. Get your spine right.
Get your spine right. And let's end off like this.
Okay.
What are we know you got the sequel coming.
I'm working on the book.
What are you currently working on, and where can people find
you?
On
my website, www.stlprohealth.com. Or I like good old-fashioned phone calls. You could give me a call at 314-607-9150. Woo! Back then, you didn't want me. Now I'm hot. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go. There's the number. Dr. Peebles, who? Mike Jones, who? Dr. Peebles,
who? On me.
Now your back hurt? Yeah, y'all up on me. Dr. Peebles, thank you so much for this
Be true to yourself,
and coming
trust
through
yourself,
and blessing us
and
with
be
all this knowledge and
patient,
information.
Any
last words of wisdom for the people before
yourself.
we head out?
It's easy to be kind to others, but be kind to yourself and get your spine checked out.
Be kind.
Get your spine checked out.
Be kind to yourself. There you go. There you have it. Get that spine checked out. And we'll catch you all on the next time.